Welcome to episode 134 of the Muck Podcast, a member of the Odd Pods Media Network. Listen in as we discuss the dark and sometimes weird true stories in American politics. I'm Tina Jaramillo.
And I'm Hillary Dockery.
Hillary! It's been another 2 weeks.
I had to tell you, I think I'm at the point with this podcast that it's my saving grace.
Yes, me too.
And so when we don't do it, I feel lost.
I was so anxious and sad, and it was funny because I was in the hospital.
Oh, Tina.
And my husband was like, I should be doing the podcast today. And he's like, what is the matter with you?
Well, that's why when you told me that, I pushed you to go to the hospital, and then when they checked you in, it was a Thursday. But I had a feeling you might still be there Saturday, or even if you got out Friday, it's not going to happen. The first thing I texted Tina was, don't worry about the podcast, because I knew, like me, I'd be like, what are we going to do? Poor Tina's going to have to do this whole thing.
I was thinking, well, maybe I could Zoom. That would be an interesting...
Jesus, from the hospital.
That would be an interesting Zoom from the hospital.
I mean, that's how...
Nobody wants to see what's happening in that hospital.
Well, by the way... Who's looking for this? It's not like the public is banging down our door.
Yes.
It's really for us.
Yeah. Listen, we have a fan base, okay?
You're right. I'm sorry.
We have a fan base.
We do.
And I have to tell you, Alfredo made me laugh so... Well, so I have two things about Alfredo with this whole hospital thing. The TV's going all night, right?
Oh, Jesus.
And there was it must have been, it has to be Olive Garden. I don't remember what commercial.
Does that offend you, Olive Garden?
I'm not going to go to Olive Garden.
Oh, it's terrible.
But it's a commercial that was like, you love Alfredo. And the whole time I'm going, I do love Alfredo.
When we were in Boston, we never watch regular television. We got Roku, whatever. We don't ever watch regular television.
Yeah.
We're in Boston, the regular TV's on, and that commercial was we're the best at Alfredo. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I kept going,
was it all Olive Garden?
And I remember thinking about him the entire time.
Oh my god, yeah. So I was like, I do love Alfredo. Fucking half delirious. I told him, I was like, I'm in the hospital, thinking about you.
And also pasta. It's delicious.
Oh my god. And then he made me laugh because he was like, have you lost weight? And I was like, I don't know. He goes, well, and I said, why? Do I need to send you this jar of peanut butter or whatever the fuck he said? He made me laugh and my stomach was still hurting. I'm like, you have to stop.
He's so gay.
It was
it's such
funny.
A gay thing to say. Have you lost weight? That's
so that I can get on the diet that you're on. You don't want this diet.
Oh, Tina, are you going to tell us what happened or...
Oh my god, so I had a crazy salmonella, I guess, issue. So my husband thinks it was the avocado, and it was really overripe, but it was still I cut away the stuff, but I put it on 2 pieces of toast, and I ate both pieces of toast. That was a lot of avocado.
Okay.
And then I did have peanut butter, and I guess there was a peanut butter recall.
Oh, yes, I saw this at an ice cream shop when I was at an ice cream shop in Fort Myers.
But I had, I had a different brand than I think the ones that were there, and I had just a few crackers at night. It was the night before, and I woke up at 4:35 in the morning, and then that was it. It was
days and days of throwing up, and
it was a nightmare.
Couldn't keep anything down. Dehydrated. Then go to the hospital because you're dehydrated.
Yeah, and then I could not stop.
Jesus.
Even when I was at the hospital, they were they couldn't find my arm. So I have holes because they couldn't find my veins, and then I can't do this arm because of the breast cancer. Right. So this arm's off limits. So they're just poking, and they're like, "Oh yeah, your veins keep rolling because you're so dehydrated." And this was 2 days into the hospital of IV after IV.
Oh my god, Tina!
It was. They're like, we have to admit you because they had given me 3 bags of IV in the ER. And then I went to the bathroom and I peed this much, and they're like, yeah, this isn't normal. You've had 3 bags of IV. Your body is just nothing.
Jesus.
It was a fucking nightmare. So wash your fruits and vegetables and look at the recall list. I don't know what to tell people. Oh, and then the worst, I want to tell you this nurse story.
Oh yeah.
I had one nurse that was the meanest fucking nurse I think.
Does she have red hair?
No.
Okay.
She was so mean.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like in the middle of the night. I kept getting up, like going to, it was a nightmare. And I couldn't, like, I just couldn't stop. I'm crying. And I had to call like one of the people to come in and help me. I couldn't even get to bed. And I'm like sobbing. And she's like rubbing my back. And she's like, okay, I'm going to call the main nurse. And she's like, look, she's here. She's really upset. Like, she's not doing well. And she's like, it's because she's upset that she's so sick. She needs to calm down. And then maybe she'll feel better.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I was like, okay. And then she comes in with morphine. She's
gonna knock you out.
Yeah. And she goes, I have morphine here. And I was like, I'm not taking that. And she's like, well, you're not feeling well. I said, yeah, I'm not feeling. I said, but I'm not in like excruciating pain. I said, I don't want that. She goes, she throws the bag on the tray. She goes, fine. I guess I'll have to turn it back. I guess I'll have to return it. But don't tell anyone that I didn't try to help you. And I was like, Jesus Christ, like, horrible. Then she doesn't come in the rest of the night. And then the next morning, the doctor comes in and he's like, asking about like how many times I went to the bathroom and this and that. She's like, she didn't go once. And I said, no, I actually, because I'm a fucking nerd, I'm like tracking everything on my phone. I'm like, every time something's happening,
Oh my God.
I'm like, it happened at this time, and she's like, you didn't call me, you didn't tell me. And I was like, I didn't know I had to, like. And she walks out of the room, and then I got another nurse after. I was like, thank God that lady's shift was over, and I was so worried she was going to come back another night shift. But like, holy crap, like, have some like compassion for people. Like, it was.
That's awful.
They just want to dope you out.
Well, listen,
if
they send you a survey, which they probably will, you should make a note of that.
I remember her name and everything.
Yeah, do that.
Because she has the same name as my neighbor, and that's why I remembered it. And it's like not a common name.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, wow. And then the nurse after that was so nice. And I was like, I really appreciate. And she's like, yeah, some people around here don't have like great bedside manner. And it really, like, I feel like you need that to get better.
Well, listen, especially if a patient's like, it's an ongoing thing that's happening. Sometimes they're just laying there and something's going on. But if the person has to get up and they have to move and they're in pain, constant pain, like, wouldn't that be somebody you'd have a little bit more compassion for?
No.
Jesus.
She was just like, I felt like she was blaming me, and I was like, am I causing this myself? Like, and I was already a mess, I was like, get me out of this hospital.
Jesus.
So, and the other thing, because we both had our babies at that hospital. Yeah. They're not doing maternity there anymore.
Wow.
They said that in like 2 weeks, like no more labor and delivery.
Oh shit, I wonder if my OBGYN, my gynecologist will still be there.
I think so. I mean, I go to mine who's through there, so I don't know.
That's crazy.
I thought that was
had
weird.
A terrible nurse there. That's why I asked if she had red hair. She was fucking awful. And she was the same way. I was in terrible pain after I had my son. Like, there was a whole ongoing thing that was happening inside of me that nobody could realize, didn't know at the time. But I was in so much pain, and I'm begging her for help. I'm begging this nurse for help, and she's like, I can give you a Motrin. And I was like, bitch, like, I was dying. I'm like, there's something fucking wrong. And she just, well, here's the protocols of like what I can give you. And I was like, this is fucked up.
Yeah, it's, I mean, even for, I asked for something like ridiculous. Like, I think I asked for a Tylenol or something. And they're like, well, unless it's on the doctor's orders. I'm like,
yeah,
it's fucking Tylenol. Because we're in a hospital.
And I also think because of so many people
lawsuits
suing, like they have these fucking things
America,
to follow.
Fucking America.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dicks. All right, listen. First of all,
and then I have a political thing I know we gotta go.
Well, I know. I just want to tell you that I'm glad that you're better. Because of course I had to make it about me. I was very upset. I was very upset, Tina. Like, I can't tell you. And then I was like, I knew there was 1,000 people sending you messages, and so finally I was like, who do you want me to put on a text thread so that you could just be left alone?
Oh my God, it was really nice.
Everybody wanted to bring you food, and I was like, don't worry, her mom's on top of it. Like, her mom's got those boys fed.
I couldn't even, oh my God. I'm finally like eating food.
Oh, good.
But like,
could you imagine this? What if it was like one cracker of peanut butter? Like, it could cause that much fucking damage. That's scary.
And no, it is so scary, because I think if I didn't go to the hospital when I did, I think it's probably as bad as it was because I didn't go Wednesday.
Yeah, but how would you know what I mean? Sometimes it's just a little, You never know.
It was really bad Wednesday. And
Jesus. Also the sleeping. Like you're up all night, you're not sleeping. So that also is a whole other level of like
insanity.
You know, being exhausted. Yeah, and you feel like you're never going to get better.
And you can't sleep in the hospital.
Oh, no. Forget about it.
Oh my God. I kept thinking of my boys.
Oh,
it was like...
This is what I'm saying. This is what starts to happen. It's like, am I ever going to see my kids again?
Oh my God.
What happens if I'm not around?
Yeah, it just...
Oh boy. Yeah, of course.
So,
all right. I finished Sopranos.
Me too.
Okay, let me ask you something, because they say it two different ways and I don't know. How do you say, I say soprano, but I hear people say soprano.
I say soprano.
Soprano, but there's people on the show like say soprano, like Aunt AJ does.
Yeah.
A lot of people on there say soprano. The FBI agents say soprano.
Yeah, it's soprano.
Soprano.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Also, I love that show. It's so good. It's so good.
Bobby Bacala, like...
forget about it.
He's got such a good death scene.
I forget. You know what? I forget about that death scene with him in the train store, and then also, oh my God, what was I gonna say? Oh, for fuck's sake! Oh, the whole Vito storyline where he's gay and he leaves, and I'm like, why are they spending so much fucking time on this? But that really was what made Leotardo like shift toward, we're gonna go fuck New York. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really think like that.
Mean, some people say that Phil and Vito
were together.
May have had a thing.
Ooh.
Because like when he goes to kill him, he comes out of the closet.
Wow.
And Talking Sopranos, they talk about it. I think they talk to one of the writers and they're like, They kind of like, they don't like really confirm it, but they don't deny it. And they're like, because if you notice, like, because when I was rewatching it, there's like the muscle men on the TV. There, you know, like there's certain like he's so upset about it, and it's like, is he upset?
Oh right.
Is he upset because it's Vito, or is he upset that Vito might reveal something? You know, I don't know.
Oh wow.
But I don't know.
That's a whole other fucking thing now. Damn it, I gotta listen to that fucking podcast.
Yeah, it's so good. I want to re-listen to it because just Steve Sherpa makes me laugh so much.
Oh my God, it's so good. And Janice also is an amazing thing where it's Tony's sister Janice. Her whole look changes too, right? Yeah. When she first gets there, she's this hippy dippy. Then she starts dating Richie, and she starts to look more like a Goomba wife, right?
The sweater on her.
Yeah, like she starts to look more like Carmela. You know what I mean? And then she goes back to when she finally has to leave because she kills him, and she looks like back to her regular self. And then when she gets with Bobby, it's the same thing where she just her whole thing changes.
Yeah. I mean, Bobby, I think, was so good for her.
Oh, my God.
She was not good for Bobby, but I think she was really good. Oh, and Bobby, just with his...
He's with the trains, but also, like, when she said you gotta wear that stupid hat. His conductor's hat.
It's so
But
cute.
even, like, the whole time they're at that vacation house for Tony's birthday, it was so nice. And then they got into that huge fight, which was incredible.
So good. So good. All of it's so good. So, what is your take at the end? Dead or alive?
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Right?
Yeah, he's dead. And then I start to think about all the people who are still alive and like who took over the family. Blah,
it's
blah, blah.
It's got to be Parisi, right? Patsy Parisi.
Yeah. But also like, Paulie Walnuts. He's like, oh, they're gonna come after me. Like they didn't even name him the top three. They're like, no, Paulie's not one of the fucking three.
I love though, like when he's like doesn't want to take the job because he's like. Everyone who had that job is bad luck. And,
yeah.
And it's so funny.
Such a great show, Tina.
Brilliant.
A little romance things that I thought were fun. Do you know who Huma Abedin? You know who that is? That's Anthony Weiner's ex-wife.
Oh yeah.
Okay, we've talked about Anthony Weiner on the show. We talked about her, like what's her deal? She's
gorgeous.
This brilliant, like political mind, like gorgeous woman. Like what is she hanging out with this guy? Do you know who she's been dating, honey?
Who?
Bradley Cooper.
What? Hi.
On the DL. Is that hot?
I
read that and I was like, get it, bitch.
Now he's cute.
He's very cute. We know who he is. Like, you're not confused about Ryan Reynolds.
No.
Remember when I talked about Ryan Gosling and I was like, I'll be your Barbie? Tina's like, he's funny. And I was like, yeah, he's funny. Later on that day, we realized that she thought I was talking about Ryan Reynolds, who is very funny. Like, I would, put him in that category. And he's also cute, but he's not Ryan Reynolds.
So I even asked my husband, I said, am I the only one who doesn't think Ryan Gosling is good looking? And he goes, I mean, I can even recognize that he's a good-looking man. I was like, what? How am I the only one?
I don't know, because I'm busy with him in my brain.
Oh
I'm
my
like,
God.
busy.
Well, I got to tell you who I'm in love with.
Who?
This show, The Bear. Have you seen it?
Oh my God, I have not seen it, but I love
Please
that guy.
watch it.
I know, I don't have Hulu, so, you know,
Oh
slide
my
me
God.
that fucking password, honey. But, no, I have not, but I love that guy. I used to watch him on Shameless, which I didn't watch the whole thing, but I thought he was so cute on that show, Shameless. But in those, when he's got that white shirt on, he's got the little towel on his shoulder, I'm like, hey.
I cannot tell you how beautiful and brilliant.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
That show is brilliant.
Yeah.
There's one episode, there's 2
see how
episodes.
tall he is, by the way.
2 episodes. There's episode 7 where they do this straight film, 20 minutes straight shot where they don't change the camera, and it's like it's in the kitchen. It's so good. And then he has a monologue in episode 8, and it's so good. It's so this vulnerability. This it's
he's
good.
A great actor.
It's
okay, he's
good.
5'6".
Oh,
I know. That's what I'm saying. You could tell he's very short. You could tell he's very short, but he's a powerhouse, honey. He's gonna bring that heat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Right from the kitchen into my vagina. Here's another exciting thing that we had an episode called Benefillery. Because I was so in love with J-Lo and Ben Affleck getting back together last year. I was so thrilled about it. I was like, call me, let's do a throuple, right? I'm still waiting.
Well,
what
now.
is this?
Well, now.
And now they got married. I'm so excited.
Crazy is that?
I fucking love it. And also, I watched her the halftime documentary on Netflix.
Oh.
You have to watch this. She's fucking incredible. Like, what
She's
a brilliant
beautiful.
star this woman is. She's a fucking star. Like, it's incredible. She's smart. She's funny. She dances like a beast.
Oh,
and
you
the
remember
songs.
her on In Living Color?
Yes, they go through her whole life in this, but then it's they show you things about they show you things about the Super Bowl and like the things that they want to do. It's so fucking good.
Oh, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it.
And you remember? I don't know if you remember her halftime show. It was right before the pandemic, of course. But they did those cages. They had little girls, Latin girls, sitting in cages on the field that lit up. And the night before, the NFL had heard that they were gonna make the statement on immigration, and of all the problems they've had with social justice stuff.
Yeah.
And they're like, no. And she's like, well, I guess we're not doing this then, because that's the commentary. Like, that's what we're doing. So
good for her.
Yeah. And they fucking did it.
Good for her.
Oh my God, it's such a fucking great.
Go
watch Halftime on Netflix. I mean, I'm crying watching it. She's so brilliant and so, like, of her age, right? I think she's 52 or 53 now. She's beautiful.
But she doesn't look worked up.
No. And she works hard. She works out. Remember I told you, every time I see her come to the gym, I'm like, damn, bitch. Like, she looks fucking good. Oh, she's an inspiration, I think.
I loved her in Selena.
Forget about it. She's a star. All right, what's your political thing? Because I have one.
The Dems giving money to extreme right-wing candidates in the primaries.
Oh.
Because they think they have a better shot of winning in the general, and I feel like this is a really dangerous thing. This is the plan. This is the plan.
Stupid. It's so
this
stupid.
This is the plan.
I think they really underestimate how extreme the
and
right
Alito.
is.
The other thing was Alito going and running his mouth and talking about abortion as it's a religious issue and this and that. And
we know it's religious. You made it religious, you fucking prick.
But I think he's also talking to people that like have to make decisions. Like these people are violating their position.
You know, there used to be a time when you would never hear from a Supreme Court judge.
Yeah.
They would do their job and they'd go back to their fucking house and they'd blend into the background. You're not supposed to be on stage. You're not J-Lo, bitch.
Yeah, you're not supposed to be swaying people.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
Do your job and go home.
Go home.
Nobody wants to hear from you. Nobody cares about you. Nobody cares. You're supposed to rise above it. You're in the highest court in the fucking land. That's not enough for you, motherfucker? Now you gotta be a star and tell people what the fuck they're supposed to do? I don't fucking think so.
I mean, we are in a dangerous time. We are in a dangerous time. We have nutjob Trump threatening to run again. Ooh. We have DeSantis who's definitely gonna run. Like, it's...
I saw a picture of Trump recently. Holy shit. He looks terrible. I mean, he didn't ever look really great,
Good.
But he looks
drop dead
terrible.
already? Can he drop dead already?
He looks like he's dying. He looks like death.
Ugh.
He looks
he's
like
evil
death.
incarnate.
Yeah.
But DeSantis, I'm scared of more.
Yeah, he's
I
not.
really am.
This is not good. Well, my thing was this week. I just told Tina before we got on, like, Jon Stewart for me would be. Well, he's one of my dream guests on this podcast. Like, I don't know how we would ever make that happen. I mean, we got to be close to somebody who knows somebody who can get us on that fucking podcast, or get him on the podcast. Yeah. He fights for veterans the way that we should fight for everything, and whether you're. You don't have to be you can be anti-military and be pro these motherfuckers who put their fucking lives on the line every day and go to war. Like I said to you, my son wants to be a Navy SEAL. I'm like, in this fucking country where they put you in places that you really never should be. Right. Like, that's what these guys do. And women do. They swear an oath to go to these places and fight when, they're put in really terrible situations and they do their jobs and they come home and then they're fucking slapped in the face by the government, the very government that sent them there in the first place. And
the Republicans, the law and order party, the military party, right? They're pissed off because, somehow Manchin, that whole thing that, I don't even know, like the deals that were being made and now they're, and now, like, as a retaliation, they're going to harm vets.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, so they don't care.
The PACT Act, don't care. It passed. I mean, listen, let's be honest. It passed the House, it passed the Senate, the PACT Act. It did pass. Yeah. But there were senators who voted against it because they called it a slush fund for vets. It was, like Jon Stewart says, go look at the website for the government. Like, read the whole bill. There's nothing in there that's for anything else but health insurance and taking care of veterans. That's all that it's for. That's all that it's for. Rick Scott votes against it.
Of course he does.
Rubio voted for it, but he's in an election year. Yeah. So otherwise, believe me.
He has no spine.
No, he would have voted against it. So it's but that day before, Rick Scott had put a tweet out that he was at the USO in some room at the USO, like at the Senate, putting together care packages for the vets that are overseas and taking pictures with all of it. Then the very next day, votes against health care for those same people he's sending M&Ms to. Yeah. He's a fucking prick.
It's like that same guy that voted against the marriage equality and then
that goes to his son's wedding.
Yeah. The hypocrisy of these people.
How do they live?
How does he show his face at that wedding?
It's shameful.
Like, get out.
It's shameful. Listen, should I say this? Should I not? Should I say this? Should I not?
Uh-oh. Just do it.
I will say this.
Uh-oh.
I don't want to hear from anybody, any candidate ever, who says one thing to me behind closed doors and then in public wants to distance themselves from a community, which is what I've heard about 2 candidates in the last 3 days. They say, "Oh yeah, I really want this endorsement, but I can't apply for it because if it any way says that I'm aligned with the community, my opponent will attack me and make it a big deal. Because I'm in a conservative area and I won't get votes if it shows that I'm supporting this community."
Wow.
And I say to that is,
you can't do that.
Fuck you.
Yeah. We need people to stand up. Yeah.
You either stand with us or you don't.
Wow.
And if supporting a community, I hope you understand what I'm saying when I say community, because I don't want to be too specific. Do you know what I'm saying when I say community? If supporting a community loses you votes, then it loses you votes.
Yeah.
That's it. Full stop.
But you still have your moral compass.
Yeah. If you pretend.
Your integrity.
Then everyone's going to think that you're aligned in a different way. And the way that we win is by standing up for what we believe in.
Right. So that other people have
not in the shadows.
To stand up
that's right.
too.
Not in the shadows. In the light. That's how this community became as strong as it did. Is because they started to fight for themselves.
Unbelievable.
And we need allies in that community. What are you talking about? You're a fake ass bitch.
Woo!
Fuck off. Don't fucking come to me with this bullshit. This is the kind of shit I'm so tired of. And also, if you're not strong enough of a candidate to win without you have to hide and you don't think you're strong enough to win, then you shouldn't be in the race.
Right.
The other person should win. Because at least they know what they stand for and stand up for, fucking say it and proud of it.
Right.
Even if it's evil, even if it's fucking evil as shit, At least they're fucking standing up and saying their truth. And they look like morons, but whatever. At least they're fucking speaking their truth. You want to hide and still get fucking support? I don't fucking think so.
You don't deserve it then.
I don't have time. And this is 2022, motherfucker. We don't have time for this.
No.
If you're not pro-choice and fucking screaming it from the rooftops, I don't have time for you. I don't have time for it. If you're not pro-LGBTQ and you're not shouting it from the rooftops to protect children in these schools, and the teachers that are going to have to deal with what's going to happen with Don't Say Gay Law, they start in August, I don't have fucking time for you. I don't have time for it. These are major fucking issues. These are major issues, and people's lives are directly impacted, and you want to hide about where you support? I don't fucking have time for it. Bafangul, right, Tina?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Are you ready?
Yes. All right. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of former Port Richey, Florida Mayor Dale Glenn Massad.
Port Richey.
Florida.
It's one of those little...
Tiny. Tiny ass tiny.
Just keep driving cities.
Yes. So Dale Glenn Massad served as Port Richey mayor, but when he served with a warrant, he opens fire on deputies.
Shut up.
Do you believe this?
Holy shit.
He opens fire. So our story takes place in Port Richey, not Fort Richey, which is in Pasco County, and it's basically west coast of Florida, about 40 miles outside of Tampa, and it's tiny, 2,600 people.
Yeah.
And so some background, and I need to give a bit of a trigger warning for the background because this story, to me, is so horrible and sad.
No.
And this is well before what happens, but it gives you a sense of who this guy is, and it ties into...
Is it gun violence trigger warning? Is that what you're saying?
No.
Oh, well, how do we know what the trigger warning is?
It's
telling me what the story is.
Yeah. It's just
sexual violence?
Not sexual violence. It's just like something bad happens to a child.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
So.
Got it. I mean, not good,
yeah,
but...
Yeah. So Massad was born in 1950 in Oklahoma and later moved to Port Harbor, Florida to become a doctor in the late 70s. But in 1992, his medical career was over after the death of a 3-year-old patient, according to Heavy. And another article from the Chicago Crusader, which came from a Washington Post article, explained further and stated that he was treating this girl for facial birthmarks. So this girl was born, I guess she had like these birthmarks all over her face. It was all over like a lot of her body, and maybe just a few parts of her body didn't have these markings on them.
Okay.
And so her family took her to this doctor, to Massad, to have him like laser remove these spots.
Okay.
So they cited basically the Florida Department of Health records. So apparently he gave this little sweet baby Valium, but he didn't determine the right dosage.
Oh, for fuck's
based
sake.
on her size, and she's a little girl, and all that shit goes into account when you have to like give dosage of especially things like Valium and other medications. And he had a dentist there as well to give her lidocaine, I guess, to help with the procedure. And that lidocaine, the same thing, like they didn't like take into account like the dosage, and it ended up being a lethal dose.
Jesus.
So it was terrible because like that girl went to him several times, and the first time he gave her something, and the mom called and was like, she's throwing up, she's like not doing well, and he was like, okay, well next time we'll give her something else. And they put it in like a Coca-Cola, and she didn't want to drink it, and so then it was like he kept progressing on like giving her this medication. But the other thing that happened is like she has this deadly dose, and they're working on her, and the mom says like she sees her like turning blue.
Oh God.
I know, it's
Could
awful.
you imagine this, watching this?
It's awful. So the paramedics come, and he asks the paramedics for like tubing to like help her breathe. And when he tries to place the tube in her trachea, he ends up putting it in her esophagus instead. So like that fucks everything up. Like he just doesn't know what he's doing, So she's ends up being like unresponsive. They intubate her at the hospital, and they ultimately had to make the decision to like remove her from the tubes, and she died.
Oh my gosh, this is so sad.
It's terrible.
Three.
Terrible.
Lord.
Terrible. And like you're just going in because she's got like, you know, like it's not like it was major surgery. You know what I mean? Like.
So does he lose his license?
So he turned it like he like willingly gave up his license.
Okay.
Right. So and the story's it's more in depth, and you can read it in our notes if you want to go through like that was sort of the gist of it. But it was a tough read. Like it was to me. This was like the worst part of the story for me, like this thing that happened to this little girl. And it wasn't like he was like some newly minted doctor, right? Like he was a doctor from the 70s. This is 1992.
I was thinking this isn't his only patient. Like, you know, what else has he been up to?
So
yeah.
But he expressed remorse, and he was quoted in 1998 as saying, quote, "I'm the captain of the ship. That's the bottom line. If I could be where the child is and let her be alive, I'd do that." And, you know, so gives up his license, and because the Department of Health had filed these 4 counts against him, and I think they settled a lawsuit, and all of that happened. So he moves to Port Richey, which is not that far from Port Harbor where he was living. And according to his interview with Vice, he lived off of retirement money, and in 2000, he decides to run for a seat on this 5-member city council, and he wins. Then he won again 2 years later. He loses in 2004, he wins again in 2006, and then he loses in 2008. I'm sorry, he wins again in 2008, and he stays on until 2015. So he's like off and on, like winning these council seats.
Right.
And the Chicago Crusader article noted that he was elected in, when he won, he lost in 2008, and in 2015 he wins via special election. And only 27, because we know no one votes in special elections, 27% of the voters voted. And remember, it's like 2,600 people, so 182 votes. Like, that's what he won with.
Wow.
Yeah. So basically, he ends up in 2017 like winning the mayor's seat, and he's a registered Republican, but he ran nonpartisan because those seats are often nonpartisan seats, right, in Florida. So the other thing is Massad allegedly had a drug problem, and he was getting in trouble for like minor incidents. So while he's on council, right, like he's like the police kind of know, like it's, you know, again, it's this small town and people talk and they kind of know like he's involved in maybe some shady shit. But not all of the council members may have been aware of it, but some of them were aware of it. And, you know, I don't know, like if you know that there is a drug abuse problem of someone who's elected and you're a sitting council member with that person, like, do you have an obligation to get them removed from the council? Like, I don't know how that works. Like, I don't know what the law is for something
I don't know
that,
either, but I know that person shouldn't be fucking serving.
They shouldn't be sitting and serving. All right, so let's get to the major...
What were the drugs?
Well, I'm going to get into it.
Okay.
So, major incident. So, back in 92, Massad had his medical license revoked. But the feds got word that he was still practicing medicine.
What?
Yeah. And they investigated. And according to a press release, he was practicing out of his own home, and he was performing procedures and even surgery, like at his kitchen table.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. And it led to one patient requiring additional hospital care.
Oh my God. Who are these people? They probably don't have insurance. Like, what's the deal?
Who knows? Or they're like friends, like, oh, hey, you're a doctor, help me out. Like, who the hell knows? Yeah.
Oh no. I mean, even if they were my best friend, sorry, Steve, if you're a doctor, I don't want you performing something on your dining room table.
No, and like, think of like the sanitation.
That's a Sfogliatelle coffee. I'm going to cut you open, bitch.
And imagine like, just like the sanitation. Like how, like, ew. All right, so who does this? Like, and who, like you said, like, who goes to some rando's house and it's just like, yeah, like, sure,
that's what I'm saying. People who don't have insurance, or it's an illegal procedure.
And after he did what he did, his negligence with that child, how do you?
He don't give a fuck.
How do you do this?
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean? It's shameful.
Care. Wow.
So according to the Tampa Bay Reporter, in February 2019, the cops go to Massad's house to serve a search warrant.
Oh, shit.
At 5 a.m. So they knock at the door, nobody answers. Oof. They bang again, nothing. Then they hit the door with one of those like battering ram things to get it open. They still can't get it.
Maybe he was busy in surgery.
Right? So they fire at the door with a shotgun.
Damn.
They hit it with a ram again. P.S. Massad is home.
Well, what? He got someone up against the door?
And then they finally use this device that like blasts the door open.
Jesus.
So I don't know like what kind of house he's living in. He's living in some big fancy
Poor
house.
Richie, they got all kinds of military. See, this is what we stop the military, the police with military weapons, even in Poor Richie. Jesus.
So that goes off, and Massad, right? So they then enter, and then Massad just boom, boom, boom shoots at the deputies.
Wow.
Yes. They held their fire. Nobody's injured, right?
Wait a minute. Let's hold on for a second.
Yeah.
If the cops are knocking at my door at 5 a.m., I'm like opening the door like, what's going on?
Yes.
This guy's like letting them bam it on a fucking bomb. Like, holy, like either he knew they were coming, he knew he was up for something was going on.
He has these claims that it was self-defense.
Yeah, I mean, normal people would be like, oh, just open the door.
Yes.
You wouldn't go like get your gun and shoot back at the police. It's clearly the fucking police. They scream police.
Right. Well, he claims that he didn't hear them.
Oh, please.
So, according to the UpToDate reporter, he is ultimately arrested and charged with attempted murder because he's shooting at deputies and practicing medicine without a license.
Can you imagine how fucked up your life is? You're shooting at the cops in your house.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're doing, it's a bad crime, but nothing to shoot a cop over. It's weird.
I mean, maybe you couldn't hear him because the bomb that went off at his door.
It's like, just open the door, bro. Just open the door.
You know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the episode that I love so much. Next time we do a classic episode, we'll put this one out. It's the one where I covered the Catch a Predator.
Oh,
on NBC.
Yes.
And they went to the guy's house and he wasn't coming to the door, and they had kind of like set this whole fucking thing up. Remember that episode?
They're like, just answer the door.
That's a great episode.
Yes.
But yeah, he wouldn't answer the door either, and they walked in and he kills himself in front of them. Ay.
So he said that he heard noises and thought it might have been police, but they never announced themselves. Though someone else who was at the home was like, they heard the cops say, hey, law enforcement, open up.
Was that his nurse for prepping the next patient? Jesus.
And then he said that he didn't shoot at the cops, but instead he just shot down the hallway because he heard noises.
This guy's got issues, bro. Who are you trying to sell this to?
Oh my God. P.S. He's the mayor.
Please, it's like Judge Judy.
Imagine, you're going to the mayor's home and he's just opening fire. This
hell of a town. Poor Richie's fucking wild. There's only 2,600 people, but they are crazy.
They're crazy.
It's like people say stories like this to Judge Judy, and she's like, "You want this face to believe that story? Like you want me, this person, to believe that."
So DeSantis steps in. He kicks Massad out of his seat via an executive order.
Thank you, DeSantis.
I know, please. And then he appoints one of the other council members as an interim mayor, this guy, Terrence Rowe. DeSantis said, quote, Dale Glenn Massad is clearly unfit to continue serving as mayor for the city of Port Richey. It is in the best interest of the residents of the city of Port Richey and citizens of the state of Florida that Dale Glenn Massad be immediately suspended from public office.
Ooh, I can't wait for the day that somebody says it about DeSantis.
Oh, please.
Who's going to remove that piece of shit?
Biden. Executive order? Yeah. Executive order,
Biden.
Please. We're
drowning. Up. Sleepy Joe, wake up.
We're drowning.
We got a fucking madman at the top of the fucking, in the governor's
that we have to say
mansion.
Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, Sleepy Joe, wake the fuck up. We're dying here.
Wake up.
He's killing us. Jesus.
So Rowe claimed to, and this is the interim mayor, claimed to be friends with Massad for close to 20 years, and he had this to say about Massad's arrest, according to the Chicago Crusader. Quote, he's innocent until proven guilty, so I'm waiting to see what other details come out. I've never known him to be anything but cooperative to law enforcement, but this is an unusual situation.
Listen, I've known Tina for quite a while now, I would say. If I found out the cops came to her house and she started shooting, I go, that bitch is guilty. What's she doing? What is she doing?
What are you doing?
Tina, what are you shooting at the cops for?
Why? Oh my God. But you know what they say?
He may be innocent.
You know what they say? Birds of a feather flock together.
Woo!
And
what's this guy up to? Oh no.
Apparently it wasn't enough to shoot at the cops and practice without a license. Massad decided to obstruct justice, and he got the acting mayor, Terrence Rowe, involved.
What's wrong with these people? What is going on over
so
there?
They both got in trouble. So this is so funny. So this idiot...
we gotta go to Port Richey. You know we're going to Port Richey, right? Let's get in the car right now and just drive over and see what's out.
So as he decides to call Rowe from the detention center, right?
Which is recorded.
And he wants to target.
Even I know that.
He wants to target one of the deputies, this D. Howard, who was, at the scene, to discredit this deputy. And here's the exchange according to the Tampa Bay Recorder.
Oh my God,
Massad.
thank you, God, thank you.
I believe Howard was hired illegally, fired legally, and rehired illegally. I don't know why, but he is on everything. The arrest affidavit said that basically he's referring to this affidavit from February 21st arrest. Like, his name's everywhere.
Yeah.
Roe, I'm on it. Massad, okay, so anything you could do is good. Roe, this doesn't go down without somebody answering for it.
Oh.
Boom. So they got this on tape, and they're like, whatever.
Jesus, don't they know it's being recorded? It's so dumb.
It's so funny because, like, Roe then had to be, like, removed by DeSantis.
Oh, no, it DeSantis! This is because you're too busy with other shit, DeSantis. Look what's happening in Port Richey. Keep your eye on the ball, motherfucker. Keep your eye on the ball. Your fucking elected officials in Florida are wacky as fuck.
Oh my God. So Massad tried to use Florida's stand your ground defense. This whole thing. Oh my God. So he said he was acting in self-defense, but prosecutors and the sheriff's sergeant, Billy Lindsay, called BS on that, stating, quote, "The fact that we are here entertaining a plea deal in a case where the defendant is accused of intentionally, willfully, and knowingly shooting a firearm at law enforcement during the execution of a search warrant is disgusting," said Sergeant Lindsay.
Well, also, the police are upset about it because that's the defense they use when they kill unarmed black men.
Yes.
So that's stand your ground is really reserved for the police to use.
Yes.
Not for regular citizens who shoot at the police.
Well,
no.
Right. Or it's when citizens shoot maybe at people of color.
Someone trying, a black woman who's trying to defend herself against a domestic violence partner, someone who's been committing domestic violence on her for the last fucking 10 years.
Yes.
And then she kills him, and then she's in fucking jail. Try to use fucking stand your ground.
God, Trayvon Martin. I mean,
same thing. That Zimmerman fuck.
So, according to NBC News, Sheriff Chris Noko had this to say about Massad's actions. Quote, "We knew this was going to be a very dangerous situation, which it did turn out to be. He shot our members. He's lucky he's not dead."
Jesus.
So, though, according to Heavy, some community members didn't really care what Massad was up to in his time outside the mayor's office.
There's always the outliers.
One constituent said, quote, "If you do your job, whatever you do on the side, that's fine by me." This is like the most Florida man response that you can have.
Yeah. I mean, he took my kidney out for me. It was very infected. I right there on the dining room table, and then we had coffee and Sfogliatelle after.
Can we get new voters, please? That's the
title I wrote down. Sfogliatelle and coffee.
Oh my God, yes.
That's the title of this episode. Now I know I spelled it wrong.
Sfogliatelle.
Oh, it looks so good. I tell you, I saw that.
You didn't have any?
No, bitch, I bought those damn cannolis
Oh
for
my
these children.
God.
Although my son got a brownie. I was like, how dare you?
Oh my God.
White boy.
You should have just got a Sfogliatelle just cause.
I know.
I'm going to bring you a Sfogliatelle.
Ooh.
There's a little good place down here that makes it
What,
good.
Crusoe's?
Pana Dolce.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, right here.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so the charges: 5 counts attempted murder, 4 counts practicing medicine without a license, 2 counts illegal use of a two-way device, and that's part of that obstruction of justice, the phone call. So Massad was facing decades of jail time because of the murder counts.
Oh my God.
And according to Megan Gannon of News Channel 8, he ultimately accepted a plea deal to avoid life in prison. And the plea deal, it's nothing. They took the attempted murder charge, they dropped it to just assaulting an officer. And his sentencing was bullshit. As a result of the deal, he was sentenced to 3 years in jail with 10 years probation. But the thing was, he had already spent 2 years in jail, leading up to trial.
So he was there for a year.
And they counted it as time served, so he only had to serve another year.
Wow.
And he was released just in December of 2021.
Wow.
Yeah. In jail, Massad told Vice, quote, "I grew up in Oklahoma, raised with the spirit of America and being free. I'm finding out these things are not true anymore. These guys look at me like I'm a dog." And he also said,
yeah,
quote, "President Trump has a way of putting it when you get in a negative light by the media. Fake news. That's what you guys got." All fake.
Yeah.
So basically what he was saying was, they tried to get me on the practicing medicine, that they were out for me. Some guy says, "Hey, take a look at my back." I take a look, and now suddenly I'm practicing medicine without a license.
He's white? This is a white guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time he's ever been, like, put into a position where his whiteness didn't get him out of fucking trouble, you know?
So some of the aftermath, I want to touch on Roe because that was that interim mayor. He ended up taking a plea deal. He got 2 years probation and 50 hours of community service, and he had to have a mental health evaluation, very light. Some points of interest, even though he gave up his license back in 1992, like when he was running and all of that, he referred to himself as Doc Massad. He still was like, I'm a doctor, And here's the other thing. Not only was he practicing without a license, there were reports that he was a crack smoker and a meth user.
Oh my God!
Can you imagine going to your cracked out Dr. Mayor for help?
At his house?
At his house, his compound.
How desperate.
But he had a nice ass fucking house. I don't know.
Poor Richie. I mean, God, you could get a fucking mansion for $2.
So,
I mean, who live in the middle of fucking nowhere?
And the patients were often his friends. Tampa Bay 10 noted that he used crack and meth nightly and jokingly called meth, quote, jet fuel. And yeah,
it is.
This guy. I mean, he's in his 60s.
I just know that he drives this fucking pimped out Cadillac and their license plate's like a vanity plate that's Doc Massad or something. And he's smoking fucking crack in there.
It's nuts.
A wild human being.
Yeah, he even had drug runners and and the thing is, the sheriff's office, they said he was a known drug dealer. He's the mayor.
Wow.
He's the mayor.
Wow. And
he's a known meth crackhead.
Wow.
Drug dealer, user. One witness came forward and said he bought drugs for Massad over 60 times.
Whoa!
And maybe it was he didn't want to be caught himself, so he had someone else, you go buy the drugs for me. A heavy article noted that one officer implied that Massad may have been on drugs on the day of his arrest, which would account for all the bizarre stuff. Yeah. Massad not only used drugs, he also had a cache of weapons in the house. And according to the Chicago Crusader, Massad was actually arrested a few months prior to the raid for domestic battery. Oh. So he's just an all-around piece of garbage. And he had this girlfriend, and they both ended up having domestic charges brought on each other, but 4 dozen calls.
Wow.
Regarding domestic violence between him and his girlfriend.
4 dozen?
4 dozen.
Jesus.
So the cops knew him. And again, he's sitting on the council.
Yeah, but you know what? It's not my cat is running a marathon throughout the house. It's not it's a big city where people are really going to be, you know what I mean?
Impacted.
Paying attention to it or say throw this guy out. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Dang.
So cops were also called due to street parties outside his house and folks sleeping in his yard.
You're cracked out.
Again, you're in your 60s. That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah.
Don't you just want to chill? Have a drink?
Oh, yeah.
Sit on the dock?
Play
I don't know.
bocce.
Relax.
Tino always said, have a cup of coffee, play some bocce.
Play some bocce. And then he also, this is funny, he got in trouble for harvesting snook out of season. He's just, not following any rules. He does what he wants to do. So that's the story of Dale Gale Massad, the crack-smoking, gunslinging, bad medicine mayor of poor Richie.
It's so Florida.
Oh my God.
It's so Florida.
It's the best Florida.
Oh,
I was how have I not heard of this story?
Yeah. And you think we would have, right?
Yeah.
All right, today. Because I gotta go walk for a candidate. I'm gonna cover someone named Virginia Lamp.
Oh.
Better known as Ginni Thomas.
What?
That's right, bitch!
Woo!
Let's do it!
Oh.
Ginni Thomas.
My
famous wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas.
Oh, this is
insurrectionist.
Insurrectionist.
Cunt.
Well, see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
That's what we used to say. Did you used to do that in school? See you next Tuesday.
Yeah. Bitch. Oh, I hate this woman.
First of all, her husband should step down.
Yeah.
Because of this. This is unbelievable that he's still sitting on this court.
I told Alfredo that I'm covering her, and he's like, this should be a double episode. You cover her, and Tina covers Clarence Thomas. I was like, damn it! But then I never fucking did it.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
It's fine.
Listen, He's not teaching at the university
I saw
anymore.
a lot of things are coming out in the last few days.
Good.
Where there was something else she had to step down from because people are like, no, honey, no. Okay, so she grew up in Omaha, Nebraska, the youngest of 4 children. Her parents were Republicans, of course. She attended Westside High School in Omaha, where she was a member of student government, the debate club, and the Republican club. And in high school, her ambition was to be elected to Congress.
Oh.
She enrolled in a women's college in Virginia because of its proximity to D.C., subsequently transferred to the University of Nebraska, and then moved to Creighton University to be closer to a boyfriend. She received a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science and Business Communication from Creighton University in 1979, a Juris Doctor from Creighton University School of Law in 1983, and after hiatus, working as a legislative aide for Representative Hal Daub. When Daub took office in 1981, Thomas moved to D.C. and worked in his office for 18 months. After completing her degree at Creighton University Law School in 1983, she worked for 1 more year for Daub in Washington as his legislative director. Okay, so you know, she's a mover, she's working around in there, and she's young,
trying,
right? She's in her early 20s or maybe her mid 20s at this point, and you know, she's in it. Like this is what she wanted to do.
Yeah.
She's in. Okay.
She wants
so
to
after,
be in politics.
Yeah. From 1985 to 1989, she was employed as an attorney and labor relations specialist at the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, attending congressional hearings where she represented the interests of the business community. So also this is where she meets Clarence Thomas, and they get married in 1987. Her advocacy for this Chamber of Commerce included arguing against the passage of the Family and Medical Leave Act of 1993.
How does a woman do that?
There's a lot of things in here. It's fucking shocking.
How does a woman
Wait till you hear this next one.
That?
In 1989, she became manager of employee relations at the Chamber of Commerce. Now, this is someone who's... The Chamber of Commerce is businesses, right? She's arguing against... She's a manager of employee relations.
Yeah.
And arguing against what employees should have as far as, like, family medical leave. You know what I mean?
It's gross.
In 1991, Thomas returned to government service in the Legislative Affairs Office of the U.S. Department of Labor, where she argued against comparable worth legislation that would have mandated equal pay for women and men in jobs deemed to be comparable.
What is wrong with her?
Why would she be against that?
What is wrong with her?
Isn't
is
this
she
crazy?
Is she just like I don't understand these women who are against their own interests.
She's like wino of the first degree.
Yes, she's the original wino.
I don't know if she's an original wino because we got some of those.
She's not
like,
an OG wino.
She's an OG for like the 80s maybe.
Okay, OG 80s wino.
And she's a current like OG wino because she's still fucking doing this bullshit. You know what I mean?
This is crazy.
I know. Well, I know everybody's like she shouldn't be involved in it, but like this has been going on for decades of her. She's involved in things she shouldn't be fucking involved in, right? And people were all the time raising flags like, red flag, this is something she shouldn't be saying, or red flag, she shouldn't be involved in this, her husband's a fucking judge, or a Supreme Court justice, like, what the fuck?
And nobody reined this shit in.
Nobody did anything. And that's why it's gotten as far as it has, where you want to overturn a fucking election of the president. That's how, because nobody's checked her.
As your husband.
Yeah, and nobody has checked her for fucking decades and decades. Like,
yeah,
so of course she thinks she can do it. And she
do what she wants.
Pretty much is getting away with it so far. So that year, her husband, Clarence Thomas, was nominated by President George H.W. Bush to fill the open seat on the U.S. Supreme Court left by the retirement of Justice Thurgood Marshall. She attended the contentious U.S. Senate confirmation hearings and stood by her husband as he was accused of sexual harassment. During the confirmation hearings...
that alone.
Yeah. During the confirmation hearing, several Democratic senators questioned whether her job with the Labor Department could create a conflict of interest for her husband if he were to be seated on the Supreme Court. So already in the hearings, in those hearings on the record, those things
decades
been questioned.
Decades ago.
1991.
Wow.
After her husband was confirmed by a vote of 52 to 48, she described the televised scrutiny and confirmation process as a, quote, trial by fire. Listen to this. On October 9th, 2010, Thomas left a voicemail message for Anita Hill, whose accusations of sexual harassment against her husband complicated his Supreme Court nomination hearings 19 years earlier. And in the voicemail, Thomas said that Hill should apologize to her husband.
What?
Hill,
like she just randomly called
19 years later. I don't want to say she was drunk, but that seems like a drunk call to me. But I don't know if she was or not. But like, you know,
how
what I mean?
did she even like have like she had to go through the process of finding her phone number? You know, like you got to ask like I need to get this phone number, blah blah blah. Like so that's like a calculated.
Yes.
a drunk dial is a drunk dial. Like, this is like, she set out to find this information.
19 years.
Why?
And then Hill responded and said that there was nothing to apologize for, and said that her 1991 testimony about her interactions with Clarence Thomas were truthful.
Yeah, and P.S. Biden.
Oh, yeah.
P.S. Biden. Thanks. You can't bitch about this shit now when you were maybe that's the problem.
By the way, maybe that's why Thomas isn't going to be taken, what's it called? Removed. Because Biden's basically the one who fucking put him there. Wouldn't that be embarrassing? What an embarrassment. Go back and watch those hearings. It's incredible. Biden was fighting against these women. Yes.
And we already know that Biden has, likes to rub the shoulders. He's that kind of guy.
Yeah, he's good friends with Jesse Helms. He's good friends with Thurgood Marshall. Okay. Wait, was it Jesse Helms or was it just Thurgood Marshall?
I don't know.
Maybe both.
All I know is that he did not support Anita Hill.
That's right.
And now, look who we have.
That's right.
You reap what you sow. You reap what you sow.
And Clarence Thomas has been there longer than anybody else sitting up there, from what I remember. Longer than Alito, right?
Yeah.
He's the original. What do they call themselves? They call themselves. It's when they believe the Constitution is like the end all be all.
The not constitutionalist. I know what you're talking about.
It's like originalist. Something like that. Where it's like you stick to these words and that's it.
Yeah. Give me a break.
There's no gay marriage in the Constitution, so that's the end, right? Her next job was a policy analyst for Representative Dick Armey, who was the House Republican Conference chairman. By 2000, she was working for the Heritage Foundation, where she collected resumes for potential presidential appointments in the George W. Bush administration when the Supreme Court was deciding Bush v. Gore. Okay. So that's what these things do. Like when Amy Coney Barrett was nominated, Trump was given a list from one of these think tanks of like, here's the most conservative, Christian conservative, pro-life judges. It was like a list of 10 people, and Amy Coney Barrett was on that list. She's what happened.
Nut job.
They give these
lists. She's a nut job.
She is. But this is the same thing with okay. So a little bit about Heritage Foundation, which I'm sure a lot of people know who they are, but they're an American conservative think tank based in D.C., primarily geared toward public policy. They write the policy and give it to the lawmakers and say, here's a bill for you.
I mean, we need to have like a super progressive, I'm sure there's a super progressive version of this, but like we really need to.
But these are the ones who have been doing it.
We need to get on board and like create a machine of our own.
Yeah. The foundation took a leading role in the conservative movement during the presidency of Ronald Reagan, whose policies were taken from Heritage's policy study mandate for leadership. They write policy against climate change, they promoted false claims of voter fraud in the 2020 election. They are critical race theory and anti-transgender youth
give me a
healthcare.
break. Like, it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Find better things to do with your time.
She continued to work at the Heritage Foundation during the administration of George W. Bush, serving as the White House liaison for the think tank.
How could she even be on this think tank?
Is still sitting on the Supreme Court when
She shouldn't even be allowed to do this.
And it's all because of access, too. She has access to all of these people. That's why people would hire her. She can get them in front of electeds. But she shouldn't be on a think tank when your husband's SCOTUS. Like, I agree. In late 2009, Thomas established the nonprofit lobbying group Liberty Central. Now, this is also using Liberty way before people are using it now, right? To organize conservative activists, issue legislative scorecards for U.S. Congress members, and be involved in elections. Be involved in elections.
And your husband's SCOTUS.
The group was aimed at opposing what Thomas called the, quote, leftist tyranny, end quote, of President Barack Obama and congressional Democrats, and, quote, protecting the core founding principles, end quote, of the nation.
I am so sick of this. This is a document that was written and things evolve and change. I don't understand.
I agree.
That at one point there wasn't penicillin. At one point, so it's like, well, it wasn't there before, so we can't use it now. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's
it doesn't make any sense. Their brains are broken.
They want to go back to the founding principles, but according to the Constitution, you and your husband shouldn't even be married.
I know.
You're white, he's black. That's not allowed. Your husband's one quarter of a human being? Like, what was it in the Constitution, right? Like, black men aren't even equal to white men?
Right.
Is that how far back you want to go, Justice Thomas?
Yeah, it doesn't
how
make
fucking
any
original
sense.
do you want to be, bitch? Because in the founding fathers thought you'd be a slave to them.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Thomas Jefferson owned you. George Washington owned black men. They thought, could you imagine what they would think? There's a black man on the Supreme Court? How fucking far back do you really want to go with this?
It's so stupid.
Come on.
It doesn't
Let's
make sense.
analyze the language. You fucking morons.
Morons.
Thomas's lobbying activities were raised as a potential source of conflict of interest for her husband.
Of course.
Thomas,
I don't understand how this has even been happening for all these years.
Thomas was interviewed by Sean Hannity on Fox News in June 2010. Asked about potential conflicts between her Liberty Central activities and her husband's position, Thomas replied that, quote, "There's a lot of judicial wives and husbands out there causing trouble. I'm just one of many," end quote.
Oh.
I've never heard of this.
And
if it is happening, we don't know about it, which really tells you something else.
Should you be causing trouble when your husband's a sitting SCOTUS?
Yeah.
That's supposed to be...
I think she also loves to be like...
Yeah, she wants to be a rabble-rouser.
She wants to be somebody.
Yeah.
She wants to be somebody.
She doesn't want to be in the shadow
But she's
of her
hanging on
husband.
to coattails of people to try to be somebody. Liberty Central ceased operations in 2012. In February 2011, Politico reported that Thomas was the head of a new company, Liberty Consulting, which filed incorporation papers in mid-November 2010. The company's website stated that clients could use Thomas's, quote, "expertise and connections to help with governmental affairs efforts," end quote, and political donation strategies.
But the connections are her husband.
I mean, but she knows all of these people through being this wife, right? I mean, she did work there for years.
Yeah, right. Still.
But you think that anybody, you think I could get a meeting with Mitch McConnell? No.
But you're the SCOTUS's wife, of course.
And you're a mover and shaker, and she's clearly wacky. The Washington Post described Liberty Consulting as, quote, "a one-woman shop," end quote, where Thomas advised political donors how to direct funds in the post-Citizens United versus FEC landscape.
Jesus God.
Another decision her husband was a fucking part of.
Right.
That she is now using to her advantage to make money for her business. Does anybody see that we're connecting these dots here? Like, this is fucked.
Then.
Also in 2011, Thomas became a special correspondent for the Daily Caller. I don't know, some fucking right-wing rag.
Yeah.
So Thomas endorsed Ted Cruz in the 2016 Republican Party presidential primaries. She supported Donald Trump after he won the Republican nomination and has served on the advisory council of Turning Point USA. Now, Turning Point USA is a wild fucking group, okay? They were just here last week in Florida. They had a convention in Tampa. And outside, some of the convention goers were holding flags that were the Nazi symbol and the SS.
Yeah.
And they were holding Trump 2024 and DeSantis flags. Yeah. And they were standing outside the convention. This is a group she's on the council advisory board for.
Yes.
Nazis.
And
Nazis.
My favorite part of that story is, DeSantis still never came out to denounce.
Nope, he's never said anything.
And they always try to spin it that it's Democrats that are there pretending to be Nazis to align us with that. And say it was Democrats dressed up in costume out there, wouldn't you still denounce Nazis?
Democrats don't show up to anything. They just vote, and if you're lucky, and that's it. They don't show up to do shit.
But wouldn't you still denounce Nazis? Regardless of who's dressed up as it.
You would think so.
You know what I mean? But he won't say it.
So he's
but he won't say it.
No.
Right? Because he wants their support.
That's right.
Give me a break. He's such people see through your bullshit. Well, people with a brain. The rest of these they talk about the sheep. They are the sheep. I've never seen anything they're a cult.
Yeah.
This is a cult mentality. They are lunatics.
You're in a cult, call your dad.
Yes.
P.S. It reminds me of Charlie Crist, who is still walking around telling everybody he's pro-life. He's putting a new spin. Oh, he's pro-life. He goes, aren't we all pro-life? He's also for abortion. He's for abortion, but he refuses to say he's pro-choice. He's trying to act as if we don't know the difference, as we've all known for 40 fucking years what a pro-life and pro-choice stance is. He's saying he's pro-life, which means he's for life. Aren't we all for life? That's what he says. Take a fucking stand, you coward bitch. You're a fucking coward. And I'm fucking tired of it. I'm fucking tired of his fucking bullshit. He walks into an LGBTQ state caucus with his fiance. It's so fucking insulting and rude. Rude. I'm fucking over this shit. And to think that he could get engaged is more presentable to be elected. It's a slap in the face to LGBTQ community.
Of course.
How dare you? And I'm so sorry that you're so full of shame. It's so sad. It's fucking very sad.
That he's pro-life.
But do me a favor. Avoid the fucking LGBTQ community because they know. They know. And you should be ashamed of yourself. Fuck off.
I can't believe this.
You piece of shit. God damn it, this motherfucker pisses me off. And he's gonna win. He's a 3-time fucking loser trying to win this race.
He'll lose against DeSantis. I have seen so many posts about how Chris is the one who can do it. He hasn't been able to do it.
Never. And these fucking...
He hasn't been able to do it.
Short-term memory.
I hope to God he does it because
that'd be great.
Because
fine.
If DeSantis wins, we are in a further nightmare state than we already are in.
But we're gonna pussyfoot around with fucking Chris, play patty cake with this fucking motherfucker.
And it goes back to what you were saying, like stand up for what you believe in.
That's right.
Like, you know, I know people don't want to be against Nikki Fried, but she is a progressive woman who was statewide, and has she made mistakes? Yes. But guess what? Republicans make mistakes all the time and they get voted and voted in and voted in and voted in.
Here's the thing.
Like, just support progressive ideas. I'm over it.
And here's the other thing. When you see him speak, when you see him giving speeches or whatever, there's a level of, it's inauthentic. Okay? There's something so fucking, like, it's off. You can tell when someone's being themselves. He can't even be himself, so everything he says is like layered in what it seems like fake to me.
Right.
Every time he talks, I'm like, who is this person? And when you can't be honest with who you are, with yourself or anybody else around you,
how are you gonna win?
Then how can you actually come across as someone who can fucking fight? You can't.
Right.
Everything is an act. It's an act. And I don't fucking vote for shit like that. Fuck off.
The other thing that's really bothering me
is
DeSantis like, I'm not going to debate. Chris doesn't want to debate. We as constituents deserve to hear you debate. Like it's like you're applying for a job. This is your interview.
Yeah.
And we have a right to hear what you have to say, to see how you answer questions. Like, what the hell kind of, what are we living in this state? With his police state? With like the controlling, that's the other. We'll have to get into that. But the whole the whole thing with the drag show.
Oh yeah,
we have too much.
Let me get through the story because I got 15 minutes and I gotta get the fuck out of here. Okay. So Thomas has drawn attention for making controversial social media posts. The Washington Post wrote that she had shared, quote, nakedly partisan erroneous propaganda, end quote. On Facebook, she has shared a George Soros conspiracy theory meme.
She can't do this.
And criticized gun control advocates such as survivors of the 2018 Stoneman Douglas High School shooting. Thomas is a member of the informal conservative Groundswell group, which she founded with the support of Steve Bannon, a former Trump advisor.
No.
According to a February 2020 report by Jonathan Swan in Axios, Thomas actively urged Trump to change the personnel in his administration. Like,
this is too close.
This is too close. Swan reported that Thomas had given Trump a memo with names of individuals recommended by the Groundswell Network, which is Steve Bannon. It's also with Steve Bannon. She's fucking right in there. On May 28th, 2020, Trump appointed Thomas as a member of the Trust Fund Board of the Library of Congress.
Oh, great. Okay.
She'll be removing books from there soon.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
She is a member of the Conservative Council for National Policy, and in 2019 she became part of its board. Okay. So, people will know who she is. I mean, she's popped in and up of things, but now people really know who she is.
Well,
since the January 6th hearing. So I'm going to get into her efforts in trying to overturn the hearings and all of that. That's the end of this, but anyway, according to the New York Times, in the days following the 2020 presidential election, the board of the Council for National Policy, like I just said, she's on the board, issued a call to action to its members to keep Trump in power despite his loss. The call to action instructed members to, quote, pressure Republican lawmakers into challenging the election results and appointing alternate slates of electors, end quote. This is treason. This is...
she should be in jail.
Yeah.
And you want to go back to the old-time Constitution, you would be hanged.
Yeah. In May
they put the little gallows up for Pence,
What does it say in there in the old Constitution that you like so much about this? In May 2022, the Washington Post obtained emails Thomas had sent to Arizona legislators beginning days after the November 2020 election, urging them to choose, quote, a clean slate of electors, end quote. Though the emails did not mention either presidential candidate, Biden had been declared the winner in Arizona. Right, so she's already this is already declared, and she's now trying to get them to change it.
Where they go and start counting the stupid. It's so stupid.
She wrote the emails on a platform that allowed pre-written form emails to be sent to multiple elected officials, and she had sent them to 29 lawmakers. Prior to January 6th, Thomas promoted the Stop the Steal rally on Facebook, the one that was going to happen that President Trump spoke before they went in there, before they went into Congress and shit on the walls and shit.
I mean,
Thomas had told the Washington Free Beacon that she attended the Stop the Steal rally that preceded the January 6th U.S. Capitol attack, but left before Trump took the stage at noon. The Washington Post reported that after the storming of the U.S. Capitol, Thomas, on a private email listserv of her husband's former law clerks, expressed her apologies for contributing to a rift among the group. So apparently, the internal rift reportedly concerned, quote, pro-Trump postings and former Thomas clerk John Eastman, who spoke at the rally and represented Trump in some of his failed lawsuits filed to overturn the 2020 election results, end quote. So Eastman, remember John Eastman? Yes. He's this guy who was working at the Department of Justice, who was a nobody.
Right.
Like, he was the head of not a nobody, but he was the head of, like, environmental law.
Yeah.
And tries to come in, and he's the one in the hearings where they're all like, if you put him in charge of the Department of Justice, we're leaving. We're leaving. All of those guys were like, we're going to step out of here. Like, you're going to lose everybody at this office. And Trump's like, all right, well, maybe we won't.
Right.
Maybe I won't do it. That's Johnny Smith. He was a former law clerk of fucking Clarence Thomas. And a friend of both of them.
Clarence Thomas has to go.
He was clearly
That's it.
Involved. He's
Impeach
clearly
him.
very good friends with her. Like, and was one of him and Rudy Giuliani were the only two pushing Trump.
These idiots.
To do this.
These two idiots.
And it wasn't until all those guys were in the Oval Office and saying to Trump, here's all the resignations of everybody who will resign right now. The head of every single department of the Department of Justice will resign if you put this person in charge. Nobody, they're like, who? Yeah.
Can Rudy Giuliani, like, can you imagine?
An April 2022 Quinnipiac poll found that 52% of Americans said that, in light of Ginni Thomas's text to Trump's White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows about overturning the results of the 2020 presidential election, Clarence Thomas should recuse himself from cases about the 2020 election.
Of course.
Let's not forget that Clarence Thomas is the only justice who said there should not be a January 6th committee looking into this.
That alone should have him impeached.
He was the only Supreme Court justice who said no.
That alone. I don't understand. Like, how is this still happening? Everybody else in normal jobs would be fired for this bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, what is the holdup?
Yeah.
How do we not hold these very important jobs that are more important than some other jobs in this world more important? I don't get it.
But by the way, I'd also like to note that a lot of this stuff was coming out before very important Supreme Court decisions came down.
Yeah.
Like a Roe v. Wade.
Yep.
So, and Clarence Thomas had a lot to say in there. Not only did he have his opinion, he added more comments.
Oh, he certainly did.
This person is
they're pushing back for states' rights.
Yeah,
Such
in
bullshit.
a radical way, overturning settled law, and should not have been sitting there even when that was happening.
Yet there he was.
So January 6th committee. In March 2022, texts between Ginni Thomas, and White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows from 2020 were handed to the Select Committee on the January 6th attack. The texts show her repeatedly urging Meadows to overturn the results of the 2020 presidential election and repeating conspiracy theories about ballot fraud.
Oh my God!
She urged that
She
urged that conspiracy theorist attorney Sidney Powell, that wacky lady, you know who I'm talking about, with that bun.
Oh God!
She's being sued by the companies who made these machines now. Thank God. She was urging that to Trump, or to Mark Meadows, that Sidney Powell be retained by the Trump campaign efforts to overturn the 2020 elections. In the quoted text, Thomas described an unknown number of American citizens that she hoped would be, quote, living in barges off Gitmo, end quote, in accord with the QAnon-affiliated conspiracy theory that President Biden, his family, and thousands of state and county election officials, administrators, and volunteers successfully orchestrated and performed a vast conspiracy to rig the 2020 elections across thousands of administrative districts or wards.
Oh my God, it's so stupid.
All these people
Like,
conspired
it's so
together.
Stupid. It's so stupid.
When really, it's a handful of people who conspired to overthrow the election results.
And it's a handful of people who are crazy.
Yeah.
Who drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Like, go get treatment. Go somewhere. You gotta get out. Get away from these people. Go to the mountains.
Bitch, you're living a fucking life.
I mean,
you got a nice fucking house. You have a fucking nice life. Like, if I was a Supreme Court Justice wife, I'd be like, oh, tell me when the session's over, when we're gonna go on a vacation, honey. Like,
but like, live in the social life in DC.
Yes.
Have fun.
Go to
girl, what are you doing?
Read books to children. Volunteer somewhere.
God.
What are you trying to overturn the presidential election? Bitch, you got too much time on your hands.
I wish I had that kind of time on my hands.
Oh, God. And I'd have more important things to do, I'll tell you what.
Jesus. Go get a mani-pedi.
Yes, I just think I'd get my nails done.
Relax.
She's so involved. She's so busy.
She's crazy. She's crazy.
And the worst part is this. She's trying to get Trump reelected. Like,
I mean,
of all the people in the world,
and
that's the president she's behind.
I know. And
This
the thing
wacko.
is, like, she's had to have seen him.
He's basically a walking
She's had
hemorrhoid.
to have seen him, you know, like, to be up close and personal with this guy. And you're like, that's my guy?
I'm telling you.
Out of all the people in the world,
looks,
that's my guy.
He's like, I just said he's a walking hemorrhoid, basically, because when I looked at his picture recently, he looks like a dried up, like, pale clit. That's what he looks like. Like somebody died and it's this pale, dead clit. That's what he fucking looks like. I'm going to hell. Like, I get it. But also, fuck you, Ginni Thomas. I mean, oh my God.
She needs to go away.
Yeah,
Go relax. She's got to go, I don't know.
At what point? You know she's in trouble.
Somewhere.
Like, she knows she's in trouble.
I mean,
her
maybe
lawyer's like,
maybe a little jail time's what she needs.
Yeah. Then she'll appreciate the fucking life she has.
Yes.
I don't think she knows.
My God.
I don't think she
Get
knows.
that little tray of food.
Oh my God. 3 meals.
Three
3 squares and a cot. What is it? 3 hots and a cot.
3 hots and a cot, girl. That's what you
I'm
need.
going to overturn the election.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Go ahead.
Oh
honey.
my God.
But also, like, we always talk about, like, egos, like, what it has to be to run for president. Like, you have us think that you can be the leader of the free world. Like, the ego on anyone who does that. Democrat, Republican, just to think that you can do it. The ego to think you can overturn an American presidential election. Are you out of your fucking mind?
I think
Never
that
in history.
Is.
Like,
I
I'm
think
sure
that's the thing is. Like, like, she probably legitimately believes.
Yeah, she was that powerful.
She believes that she was that powerful, but I think she legitimately believes this.
QAnon. Oh, she does. She believes the conspiracies.
Like, the QAnon stuff is, it's poo.
All right, so let me get back into this. So public perception of the likelihood of such QAnon-style conspiracy theories influencing a justice of the United States Supreme Court was widespread enough that President Biden was asked what he thought about whether Clarence Thomas should recuse himself from any January 6th related cases. He replied that the answer is for others to determine.
Oh, you have no spine
Another
either.
fucking coward.
Just say it. Just say it. Because Donald Trump would say it. Donald Trump would say it. Why can't he say anything?
Because he put the motherfucker in power.
Who cares? Just go, mea culpa. Mea culpa. I'm sorry. I made a mistake. Like, God, I don't get it.
Tina hasn't said mea culpa on here for a long time. She used to say it all the time.
Oh my God.
Bitch. God. What do you want me to do? I just hit the guy, but look how great the city's doing. All right, buddy CNC.
Oh my God.
Hit the motherfucker already.
Yes.
Yeah, get me out.
Come on.
He mentioned, of course, the Congressional Investigation Committee and the Department of Justice. But if they're not if they're not going to participate in the committee, what can you do about them? I don't know. Under U.S. law, each justice of the court is the main and possibly only person who has power over his or her own recusal.
What?
We have to change the Supreme Court. We have to Supreme.
Oh, I gotta decide for myself.
We have to.
Who's gonna say sure?
We have to. And you know what? There's 3 branches of government, and the other 2 are supposed to check the one that's fucked.
God.
And so the Congress and the president are supposed to be checking the Supreme Court now by fucking pressuring them.
Come on, Biden.
And when this shit comes out about Thomas, both of those branches of government have to fucking lay down the law about Clarence Thomas and what he's supposed to do.
Otherwise, we're screwed because
we gotta
pull him
pull him out by his robe's collar, get him the fuck out. So
Throw in jail.
Yeah, CNN reported in June 2022 that the Select Committee possessed email correspondence between Thomas and John Eastman. The emails were part of Eastman's correspondence related to efforts to overturn the 2020 election. In the wake of revelations regarding her correspondence with Eastman, Thomas was asked to testify before the committee. In an interview with the Daily Caller, of course, that stupid rag she shits and wipes her ass with, Thomas stated that, quote, she, quote, can't wait to clear up misconceptions. I look forward to talking to them, end quote. I bet you do. Thomas previously signed on to a letter to House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy calling for the removal of Representative Liz Cheney and Rep. Adam Kinzinger from the Republican conference for their participation on the Select Committee conference for their committee and describing the January 6th investigations as, quote, bringing disrespect to our country's rule of law. End
quote. You're bringing disrespect.
Bitch, you are confused.
Oh my gosh.
Mark Paoletta, Thomas's attorney, wrote the committee days later that she would not agree to be interviewed unless additional information came to light that might warrant testimony. As if the texts and emails weren't enough. She thinks they need more evidence for her to come. Days after it became known Eastman and Thomas had communicated by email, Eastman posted on his new Substack blog one email that he captioned, quote, oh my God, Mrs. Thomas asked me to give an update about election litigation to her group. Stop the presses, end quote.
What the hell's a Substack? They're all in these secret, you know, I don't know. I only know Reddit, but it's like these like secret places that they're
let me tell you some of these groups that she's in. In the December 4th, 2020 email, Thomas invited Eastman to speak for 4 days later at a gathering of, quote, frontliners, which I can't help but think are the frontliners that are going to be in there January 6th, which she described as a group of, quote, grassroots state leaders, end quote. A private Facebook group named Frontliners for Liberty, which included over 50 people and was created in August 2020, showed Thomas as an administrator on the group. She's on Facebook.
She's stupid.
She's on Facebook with this shit. Facebook.
How? She's old, though.
That's what I mean. That's how fucking old she is.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to make a group.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
The group's front page carried a banner stating, quote, the enemy of America is the radical fascist left, end quote.
Oh, hi.
That's me. After CNBC asked Thomas about the group, its public pages were either made private or deleted. So she thinks she's being sneaky, but it's Facebook.
Public and permanent, girl.
Yeah.
Public and permanent.
CNBC also contacted...
You're in government. How do you not know that this shit stays around?
Oops. And she's listed as administrator. Like, you don't have to be an administrator. She likes it. CNBC also contacted Stephanie Coleman, who was also listed as a group administrator. She is the widow of former Texas Solicitor General Greg Coleman, who had also clerked for Clarence Thomas. Numerous photos of her and Thomas are on her personal Facebook page, including one of them with former Trump chief strategist Steve Bannon in December 2016.
This is no bueno.
Yeah. The Thomas email was among those that the federal judge David Carter ordered Eastman to release to the January 6th committee in June 2022 as Eastman sought to withhold them. Carter found 10 documents he ordered released by the committee relating to 3 December 2020 meetings by a secretive group strategizing about how to overturn the election, which included who he characterized as a, quote, high-profile leader, which I think is Thomas. Carter noted one email in particular among those he ordered released that contained that he found was what was likely evidence of a crime. Thomas attended a meeting of Frontliners for Liberty on March 6, 2021, on my birthday, on which a speaker declared Trump was still the, quote, legitimate president, end quote, to enthusiastic applause. Okay, last thing, because I gotta get out of here, is one of my favorite things about Ginni Thomas. So anyway, she's still being asked to come in front of the committee. We'll see if she does. She might, like Steve Bannon just got, he's found in contempt of court because he won't come to the committee. That's probably what's going to end up happening with her. She has no respect for law, and her husband sits on the fucking Supreme Court. Yeah. I don't get it.
The irony. Jesus, God.
Even do some behind closed doors interviews, but she won't do that. One of my favorite things about her is that she was actually in a cult. She's in a cult now, but she doesn't understand that she is.
That's right.
She was in a cult in the 80s, which is my favorite. So this is a little bit about that.
She was married to, or before?
I think it was before, because it was...
early 80s. If it was early 80s.
It was years earlier. Okay, yeah. So in the 1980s, while a congressional aide, Thomas took training with the self-awareness program LifeSpring. And in 1987, she related to the Washington Post that, quote, that during her training several years earlier, she had been, quote, confused and troubled end quote, by lessons such as one where trainees were told to disrobe to bikinis and bathing suits, then were, quote, made fun of fat people's bodies and ridiculed one another with sexual questions, end quote. After realizing that her membership in LifeSpring group was separating her from her family, friends, and coworkers, because that's what cults do, right?
Yeah.
Thomas began what proved to be a difficult and months-long process of breaking away.
Jesus.
At one point, she hid in another part of the U.S. to avoid a constant barrage of high-pressure phone calls from LifeSpring members who felt that they had a duty to keep her in the organization. Thomas came to believe that LifeSpring was a cult.
Girl, you're in another cult.
This is the gullible. She's got one of those brains that can fall for a shit.
Oh,
you know what I mean? I mean, clearly.
Poor dear.
Yeah. Oh, God. After leaving the cult group in 1985, she sought counseling and joined the Cult Awareness Network.
Well, they didn't help you.
Yeah, you're in a cult.
They didn't
you believe
help
QAnon theories.
You're in a Cult
theories.
Awareness Network, and you could not. Now you're in a QAnon?
Yeah. She became a critic of controversial religious groups, speaking on panels and organizing anti-cult workshops for congressional staffers in 1986 and 1988. In 1991, in an interview, Thomas remarked, quote, "I was once in a group that used mind control techniques," and she called its members pretty scary people.
Yeah, you're with scarier people now.
Yeah.
Go back to your cult awareness.
Yeah.
You need help. I'm sure there's a way that people can help you exit whatever thing you're in.
Yeah, but she's got, they say that. Like, when somebody's going to get hypnotized?
Yeah.
And you got to follow, and some people can get hypnotized and other people can't. I think that there's a way that if your brain can accept certain things,
yeah,
that you are like open to fall for things. And I think she's one of those people.
She's definitely one of those people.
Yeah, I really think that she is. And it's a shame.
God.
It's a shame. I mean, she's going to go to jail. I hope. I hope
Goodbye.
she goes to jail. Yeah, she really, really needs to, because this is not right what happened. And she is a direct part of this. It's not cool.
No. Man. Ugh, I know you have to go.
Yeah.
I really wanted to talk about the drag thing because I'm so
Let's talk about it. I'm too. Let's talk about it. Yeah,
let's
talk about it next week.
Okay.
Because this is a long episode. We're at an hour 30. I'm so glad that you're here, though. I'm so glad that we were able to do this.
Yes.
I missed you so much.
Oh, I missed this too. I'm like,
do you feel good? How do you feel?
I feel okay. I feel okay.
Baby?
Yeah, my little baby mate. I just want to curl up with it. All right, well, have fun walking. I wish that I could go, but I can't.
No, you rest. Rest, bitch.
All right.
And then I'll see you next week.
Yay!
Yay!
All right.
Bye!
Bye!